everyone, welcome to Tech Down Over. I'm Biggs and I am joined today by my good friend, my loud thing here. Jeez. I think it bounced back. I've got Geoff Blanchard right next to us, only 700-800 miles away, something like that. He's coming to us from Melbourne, Australia. And we also have with us, joining us, Harold Muliati. He's running the video switcher, and he'll be joining us as a co-host as well. So, here we go. This show is sponsored by Relate Corporation at www.relate.com, your training and video partner.
And we're back.
We are back. That thing wasn't cooperating today. I think it's almost like it got stuck. It wasn't going down. It's like, come on.
We had the tom-tom starting the show off first. I thought, what was that?
That was my finger missing the right button. I go, oops. I was on the wrong row. Anyway, well, you've been watching some of the shows we've done on new microphones, and this is one of them. This is the now, Harold was telling me something interesting. This is the AKG C214. Well, AKG is owned by Samsung.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that because AKG was originally owned by, who was it?
Harman. And then Harman got bought by...
Harman got acquired by Samsung.
So all of the brands they own, including DBX and JBL, are now technically under Samsung.
Yeah, so Samsung's becoming a little bit of an audio monopolizer. It's interesting. I didn't realize they had acquired them. So... yeah, interesting stuff. These are really good little microphones. This one's $369, and then we did one show with this one. Now, Geoff, this is one you might really like. This is actually, you might like any one of the ones we've gotten.
I like all of them.
This one is the Sennheiser MK4. This is a really nice voiceover mic because it doesn't color the voice too much, and yet it has a beautiful sound to it. I don't know. I was comparing this to the Sennheiser MK416 MKH. I'll still take the 416, but man, this was nice.
Yeah, it's quite amazing how all the different mics do different things.
Yeah.
Like I think I sent you a recording. I did one with the NT2G. Was it the NT? It's NTG. Mm-hmm. And I just don't like what it does with my voice. It does something and I was looking at Mike Delgado had one with the same thing, and he said it's a good mic, but it makes him. He just doesn't like the sound when he speaks into it.
Interesting, and that's the whole thing. Not all mics sound well for all people.
Yeah, it made me too muffled. I don't know, or too.
Yeah, well, the NTG2 is a little muffled. So is the Rode NTG3. That's pretty muffled. It's bright enough, but it's not. It doesn't really highlight your. Now, for example, try it with your mixer with the Yamaha, upping the high and mids a little bit, and maybe that'll get rid of some of the muffle.
Yeah, I was trying that, but I've did another recording with it, and I've got it to some sort of acceptable level. But that one there you've got there now, Rick, the AKG, that came with the shock mount and everything, didn't it? It did.
It did. Whereas with this one, with the MK4 from Sennheiser, this was like another $50 to $75 for the shock mount, and you don't really need it. It does come with a mount that you can hang, and it was fine. It's like the Rode, the little Rode adapters where you screw it in. It's just like that. It's very similar to that.
I like their shock mounts a little bit. The Sennheiser one, because it seems to be opened at the front like the Neumann ones.
Yes,
it doesn't have a closed-in shock mount. Yep. So I don't know why. It's just a thing I like the look.
Well, it sort of needs to be open too, because if it isn't, when you get close, you're going to hit it. And so you definitely want it that way. Now I have this one right side up. When I was doing this one at home, I had it upside down, and it was easier upside. It just depends on how far you are, and what kind of. I don't think I have the same boom at home as I do here, or maybe it is, but it's older.
It's all depends. it all depends what you're doing. If you're reading copy, the way you've got it there is much better.
Yeah,
I like
you can do it right here,
overhead,
or you can look straight down.
Overhead, it seems to be a bit in the way when you're in the way of your copy a bit, and that. So, but do you want some news about microphones?
Sure.
I know somebody who's going to get a new one shortly.
Oh, now who could that be? Harold, are you getting a new mic?
Am I?
Am I? No. Well, then what one could it be?
And is that mic like coming today?
Oh no, it's not. I've ordered it, but it hasn't come. Oh, it's me. Sorry. Okay.
Did you get the 416?
Yes.
You did. Oh, you're gonna love it. You are gonna love that mic.
Yeah, it's a good mic.
Sennheiser MKH-416.
Yep.
And I just was wanting another one, but just looking around all the things, that seems to be the best all-round one.
If I only had money for one mic and I could afford like $1,000 mic, I would get that one. If that's the only mic I could have, I'd probably just get that one. It's that good.
And one of the reasons I've been swayed towards that one. Yes, it's an expensive one for $1,000, but it seems to be around about that sort of price in America as well. And
yes,
so
it was. I think here it's $950. It's about $950 here.
I've got it for $975, but that's Australian dollars. So
oh, that's really good. So that's cheaper than $950. It's more like $9.
Yeah. Well, in Australian dollars, for yours, it's about $1,400 if I was paying the American price. So it's quite a reasonable price for him.
That's excellent. So that's more like about what, 700 here, 750?
Oh, probably about 650, 600 or something like that.
That's
650.
Really good. Like brand new, right?
But yeah, brand new.
That's excellent.
And there was other ones doing it for $10.49 here, but I got that one was the best price on that. But it's been my most expensive mic I'd have. But the thing is with mics, it's the sort of thing they don't date very much. Like that Sennheiser has been around since the 70s, hasn't it? So
I think it was 73.
And plus also the versatility of that. You can do it for doing your voiceovers and things like that, but I can also take it out with the camera to get do filming outside. It does such a good job. And even with playing around with the NTG2, is the NTG2.
Did you get the XLR adapter for the GH5?
The XLR adapter?
Yeah, it goes in the shoe, and then it has a shoe on top of it too, but you can put XLRs right into that, and it goes right into the camera without having to connect another cable.
Yeah, no, but I've been using it sometimes a bit on this one, on the Canon XA10 that's got the adapters on the side of that, but that still is quite a good camera on that, so I'd still take that out. That's what I got the NTG2 for. You know, sorry.
No, I was just saying, we just discovered that they came out with an XA45. Well, I didn't even know it came out, and a 55.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I don't know how they snuck those in, but you know, they get that much publicity too. Nobody talks about them. But when we found the 55, I can't figure out. It's $2,700, which is exactly the price of the XF400. It's probably the same chip. And it does 4K. I have no idea what's different other than the lens is smaller, I think. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's quite strange, but when you probably look at it, a lot of them are not a great deal of difference in video quality. It's just sometimes to do slightly different features, but like that XA10, I know I've had it, well, it's been 5 years since I've been there, and I've had that at least 4 years since, so I've had it probably 9 years now.
Yeah, because that's the one we were using. Not right at the beginning. We started with a webcam, then we went to a Vixia, a really nice Vixia. It was about $1,000, $1,200, and then we went to the XA10 for about 2-3 years, and then we went to the 25, and then the XA35. And now we're using the GH5, which I really like. It looks good.
But I do like the GH5 for the quality, but it's a good all round camera. Yeah. I'm strongly considering selling my Canon 60D.
Yeah.
I think
you know what though? Had enough. Take a look at the 90D. It's looking good. I think I want to get one of those.
Yeah, I wouldn't
mind that.
My
last DSLR. maybe.
I always like, when I want to buy something, I always have to justify it. So now I've got a Konova slider with the pan and tilt head. But one of the things that with that one I've got, it's got a cable that will connect to the 60D or the 90D. And then when it moves frames, then it says, now take the picture, take it, wait for me to move. I've stopped, now take the picture.
Oh, interesting.
So it hooks up. I think you can get different cables for it as well, but it's already set up for the Canon.
How long
so
is that? Is that 3 or 4 feet?
It's about 120 centimeters, whatever that is. It's about
it's about 4 feet, probably about 4 feet.
4 feet. Yeah, it's the longest one you can get.
Is it?
But silly me, of course. You know how?
Which one is it?
Konova.
The Konova. And it's one of the longest ones you could get, and of course that I always want to have the biggest and the best and the longest. But in the slider, that's not always the best. Yeah. Usually the nice small one that you can take away with you is good. So I've never really used it because it's so damn big. It's so damn big.
Is it heavy?
It is quite heavy,
it is heavy.
Because it's got a separate box for the pan and tilt head that you get on that, but you can use it manually as well. But it's a fantastic thing for a proper filming crew, that if you had a few people working it. But I wouldn't mind using it a lot. But when you go setting it up, just finding a place where you can set up without people bothering you.
Yeah. What are you doing? Are you going to go skiing on that?
And then you set it up. Then you can't do that here. And so I thought, well. No.
Do you have the same problems there? That if you go to a park and with a camera, they immediately start checking you out. The cops don't like it. It's just it's gotten kind of crazy now. If you take a camera anywhere, they're looking at you like, "Are you a criminal?" No, I'm a photographer.
Yeah, but like we said the other week, doesn't matter. You can be the same person in the same place and have 2 iPhones on a thing taking pictures.
That's okay.
Android. That's fine if you're going to have multi-camera shots doing that. Oh, he's just using his phone. Oh, what fun-loving fellow taking a picture.
Yep.
Get your DSLR out. You're a creep.
I know. Hey, Geoff, have you looked at the new iPhone Max? It's really nice.
They
have dark mode now. And it's pretty cool.
I was just thinking the other day with the iPhones, and when I've had a few calls because I have have one for work, and then the phone, I said, just hang on a sec, I've just got to switch to the headset. And I said, why do you do that? And I said, because the iPhone's great for everything else, like most of them, but they're not very good to take a call unless you've got a head. I just hate that big piece of glass, and it's just not very good. And then when you do, your face does touch things, and sometimes it comes on and you touch the button and people can't hear you, or you hang up on them. I've done that before when you've done all that. So, hey, Rick, as nobody's saying, we remember last week we were saying about, I was saying about Reaper and the differences between that and Audition. Well, Audition's come out with an update this week, and one of the things that was missing on Audition, why I was looking at.
Hold on. Go back. You froze. You froze for a little bit.
Rewind a few seconds.
Yeah. You said one of the things you liked about Reaper, which Audition didn't have, is now, and then you went away.
One of the things I liked with Reaper that Audition didn't have was the punch in and punch out. So what you could do, you could say, hello, my name's Geoff Blanchard, and I'm in the whatever. But you could punch into just to that you made a mistake, and then it would play the first part, and you could talk along with it so you could get the right flow. Hello, I'm Geoff Blanchard. Then it go blank, and you record it again. The punch in, punch out.
Yep.
Now the new version, and then somebody in Audition, one of the smarty pants out there had put a little extra plug-in you could plug into Audition to do that, but it was limited. But now Audition have included that now in there, so you can do it on a single line project. So if you just do a normal single wave file, you can highlight a section and then do the punch in. Nice. So it'll play before and then go blank, and you can record over that part.
Well, that's
but
good.
In the multi-track one, you can just do punch in from that and keep going. And then, like you said, it's non-destructive, so you can cut it there. But that makes it, equally as good because that was the only thing that was missing from Audition. Thanks to Harold's information about the multi-track, because I never realized that it was, because I'd never used the multi-track, that it was non-destructive in multi-track. Now I'm using the multi-track, and it's doing the same sort of thing. And whereas Reaper had what was it? Render. Like you do a video, you render something out. Audition doesn't have that, but it has. What does it have? It bounce. It says bounce a track to a separate WAV file, which is well, it's doing the same thing. It's rendering a file just to a WAV. So you can do that. Click on it and say bounce it to another track, and then it just does the whole copy. Then you can edit just the fine little thing. All the lip smacks and the different things.
I downloaded Reaper and I played with it a bit. I did not like the interface. I found it a little convoluted, especially when you're trying to do plugins and filters. It works and it's nice enough, but I found it convoluted. I didn't care for it. And I don't know if Delgadio started with it or something else, but he may be just attached to it. He likes it. Everybody's different. I find Audition a lot easier to work with.
And that was the same thing why I'm liking Audition better, only because my workflow, I've been used to do that. But as I said, like Mike, when you've got a workflow, it's very hard to change. And if you can quickly do this, and I've seen him, he can do it so quickly, but that's what you're used to, and it's got all the things he wants to. But even then, Audition, it didn't have. I didn't like it didn't have a very good gate on it. Well, it didn't have a gate in it like Reaper did that you could put in it. But now Audition does. Yeah. So you can go in there and actually even a bit better. You can just analyze your ambient back noise, and it can tell you the noise, the level you need to turn it down. Also,
keep in mind that with both Reaper and with Audition, you can also bring in other plugins like isotope plugins for voice and everything that will work really well. VST plugins, they'll just work very cleanly. And so you're not limited to what Audition gives you or what Reaper gives you. You can use theirs. I didn't like the Reaper interface that much. I found it a little more complex than it needs to be, at least for my taste. I like Logic Pro on the Mac better than Reaper. I thought it was a better tool, though again, more geared towards music.
Yeah, and I think the thing is with Audition as opposed to Reaper, when you get Reaper, it's quite cumbersome because it is done for music. Yes. But things like Audition, it's done for music exactly the same way, but it comes there. If you just do it, it's like you have to make it up for music, whereas Reaper is already set for music and you've got to take things away if you just use it for voiceover. But Audition, you just start off, it's pretty bland if you don't want to. If you want more, you build it up. But I like that a bit because it's not as frightening, which does the other thing, whereas when you're not looking for it, like I didn't see all the features that were in Audition, because the thing with a lot of the training, if you just say, show me Audition, and it just shows you, hey, you can record this. Unless you say, show me multi-track, non-destructive recording. Oh, then you see it, but you have to delve down. It's one of those things that...
And I guess that tends to be the way with Adobe, where by default, the interface is relatively simple, and then you have all the panels and stuff in the world that you got to enable if you want to do... I just until recently, I hadn't really been using the multi-track mixer in Premiere, but I mean, it's really useful. The thing is, I use multi-track mixers in everything else, and I kind of knew that they had one in Premiere, but just because I didn't have it enabled before, I just didn't open it up and use it. I've been using it now, and it's really useful.
Yeah, well, Premiere also lets you export everything right into Audition and bring it right back when you save it. And it's nice. That's a nice feature. So there's some good features in Audition.
The return of Jemima.
Yeah, Jemima. Now, we were talking pre-show. The Panasonic GH6 is rumored to be announced maybe as soon as this or next month, which will be interesting. The GH6 has some very, very interesting characteristics. For one of the rumors is that it is dual sensor. It has a Super 35mm sensor and Micro Four Thirds. Either that, or it has a Super 35mm sensor, and they take out the 4/3 part to make it Micro Four Thirds so that's interesting if they do that. But more interesting, they're going to be using top of flight focus. That's what's used in driverless cars, and they said it's much, much more accurate than phase detection. So if they do that, that means, and Harold, I think you were saying top of flight is an array?
So top of flight is kind of an active focus system. It uses an array of lasers, and basically it will put a laser on the point that you're supposed to focus on, and it just based on how long it takes for the laser to get back to the focusing system sensor. That's how it determines the distance.
Now it's an infrared laser.
Yeah.
Now, do you think it's going to blind anybody?
I mean, I'm not sure.
I mean, lasers can have that effect. I think they're probably pretty mild.
I don't think it needs a particularly intense laser for it, so probably not.
But they said that is much, much more accurate than phase detect, meaning, if that's true, if that rumor is true, and Panasonic is smart enough to do it, wow, they will have beat Sony and Canon in their best focus conditions, which is mind-boggling. That's great.
Because that's the one thing that's just taking the edge off Panasonic is the focusing. But a lot of people that like the Panasonic don't care about that too much. But it's all those people that could switch over, because it's amazing because that's the main thing you want. It's in focus.
Yes.
Everything else you can put up with, you can figure out. But as I said, if it's a bit dull, bit bright, that's fine. But if it's blurry, no matter what you do, it could be the nicest, brightest shot. But if it's slightly out of focus, everybody can notice.
Well, it's funny. I used to have a NEC monitor. And this is back in the old monitor. It was thick, it was prior to LCDs. And one day I just kept going, man, my eyes are getting worse and worse. Everything's so blurry. And one of the guys walks in and goes, hey, how come your monitor's so blurry? It's not me. I thought it was me. And it was the monitor. It had gone bad.
Jeez.
So for about 2 months, I'm working on a blurry monitor that I think is my eyes going really bad. Yeah, that was funny. But
I do think with the GH6, if it is true that they're going to have a Super 35 sensor, that would be an interesting step, as we haven't. I don't know if we've really seen one of those in a hybrid camera yet. It's generally, that sensor size is generally seen more in cinema cameras.
Yep. I think that's the standard in cinema, right?
Yeah, I think generally that's a pretty common.
Yep.
So, is there anything else other than the focusing? What sort of fantastic things else would
they didn't say? Those were the 2 or 3 big things.
Yeah, those were the
focus, the dual sensor. Was there anything else? Probably 6K.
Bigger camera or the same size?
They didn't say.
Yeah, I've heard both 6 or possibly 8K. I think they could do 8 with Super 35 probably pretty
8.
well.
Yeah, because everybody started to do 6. So they could.
Well, I don't know about you, but I've been seeing in the stores the 8K TVs.
Are you kidding? They're starting that now?
Yeah, and
with
I just
no one transmitting in 8K or 6 for that matter.
And then I thought, well, I can't see any difference between 4K really.
No, our eyes can't. That's the funny part.
Yeah. And even if they can, I thought, well, but it's just when I worked in the retail thing, when we sell in the days where televisions lasted for about 20 years.
I know. Yeah.
Now what they do, they make this feature like 8K, which people really don't need, but we're already in. We have to have it because it's the latest.
8K is better than 4K. Twice as good. Really,
yeah. Like I've still got one of the old Panasonic plasmas. They're still excellent, but they're still working. But it's still really as good as any of the current one.
Except the Panasonic. I remember those. I wanted one. Those plasmas were great, but they consumed an enormous amount of power and heat.
They got really hot.
They got hot.
Yeah.
But boy, they were nice.
I used to go into the stores, and you'd walk down the aisle with all the plasmas, and you'd come out, and I was swore blind. I was
they were hot, weren't they? I remember that.
The radiator, and you'd come out thinking it was like, I'm sunburned. The radiation coming off of the heat, because you used to. And I thought the people working with these all day,
and they were $7,000 to $10,000 for about a 40-inch. TV in those days. 7 to 10,000, and now you can buy a plasma, for like $500. They're still out there, but they're really cheap.
I don't think you can buy a plasma anymore. There
are some that are out there, but they're not popular. I'm not even sure why they're making some, but
the most I see is out people's houses in their hard rubbish collection. You see 50-inch plasma, 60-inch plasma. You see all the old ones in there, and then you see how thick they are compared to the new ones. They're the same thing.
Yeah, one of those technologies that was kind of an interesting little historical footnote, just because it was really popular for a little bit and then it's gone.
It just worries me. I always think, with what we're doing with the world these days with rubbish, I thought, how big a hole would it take where they've got to put all these plasmas? Where do they put them? And there just must be a mountain of things these days because people just don't keep things for very long. It's just 2 or 3 years, the next one, and then that's hundreds of millions of people are doing that. And so we must be shooting all this rubbish out, and that's sort of an idea. Let's shoot it all out into space. Big containers load of boom.
Put them on the moon, Musk, and then everybody will complain that we're polluting space, which we would be.
Elon Musk should develop a business, with the SpaceX garbage disposal. Boom.
Just think of it this way: we're leaving a lot for the future archaeologists to go on.
Yeah, that's true. Look at the stupid stuff they watched on 250 channels of cable. These people were idiots. So we're going to be just as dumb as the apes back when they were, discovering Neanderthal man. They're going to go. They haven't aged much. They're about the same.
And what about that one when they go and dig up that Futuretronics one, the ET game that they bulldozed all into the ground?
Yeah, the Atari ET game. Yeah. Just a huge mountain of these dumped game cartridges.
If a race of people, 100,000 years have come and said, "What's this? Oh, look at this! Is this how the people used to look, or something?"
Yeah,
it was scary. So primitive.
I tell you, what else? We had some other subject. Do you remember what it was?
Well, there was the subject of the
the cameras.
The camera.
Yeah, we did that.
We changed cameras.
Yeah,
so with the
anyway, we can talk. For example, right now, I changed from being on a Canon XF405. We tried the XA35 for about a week, not even a week this week. And then we switched to the Panasonic GH5 right now with the 15 millimeter lens, which I absolutely love. It's a very small lens. It's almost like a pancake lens. And it's only, I think, about $400. It's a very good lens for the price. Geoff, that's a really good one, by the way. It's a f1.7. So it's a bright lens, very fast. And I think it gives out a good image. I'm on that right now with the Panasonic GH5. It's been pretty good. And it's so easy to program this one or to do the settings so that it looks good. Whereas with the Canons, it was a lot of work to get as good an image as you saw out of that. It was painful.
Yeah, I might even see if I can get my GH5 out and put mine, replace it with this camera I've got at the moment. Just give that a try. Then
I bet it would look great. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Because I haven't been out for a while. I've got to get out and with the camera again. So. Because I really do enjoy going out. But it's like
you're heading into spring now, right?
Yes, but like we was just saying before, I wouldn't mind getting out, but it's just if people didn't mind you out there, I wouldn't mind so much. I'd go out a lot more. But if you could go out and just sit around taking pictures, but then people just think you're a weirdo some of the time.
What are the laws like there? Because I know, like over here, a lot of people make a fuss about it, but legally, if people are out in public, you can just take pictures.
You can take their pictures.
They can't like legally stop you.
Yeah, I know, but it's the same here. But but even then, you just don't argue with a 6'4" bloke saying, "I'm going to punch your lights out if you don't stop."
I'm going to punch you out. You took my picture. Yeah.
But I was saying, like I had the other time.
The muscular guy, right?
Yeah, well, I had this fella, and he came up. Are you taking my picture? And I thought, yeah. Oh! I said no, because I wasn't taking pictures. He said no. He said, well, why not? And then he took his shirt off and made me take his picture. What? And of course, I thought, I'm in trouble here. I said, no, I'm just, no. He said, why not? And I thought, oh, well,
Oh,
you
that's
can't
funny.
win, can you? So I got into trouble for not taking his picture. So, I had to take his picture, but I didn't tell
That's
him.
rich.
Well, it wasn't very good because I had my big zoom lens in, and it was so close. There was just a blare in front of it. Oh, yeah, okay, there it
Well,
was.
you should have just told him, I've got to be a little more, I've got to have a greater distance for this particular focal length, and you just start backing away, and then just
Then run.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, it'd be nice if we, and also as well, I see so many places I'd like to film, but they're in places you can't get, like when you're on the top of a freeway. This would be a great vantage to sit there for hours. But if you could just perch yourself there, and you say, this would be fantastic. Get the sunrise with all over the free.
That would look cool.
See all, and then when you say, I'd love that, but you can't stop, or there's nowhere for you to get.
People
there.
get stock photos and videos from the top of freeways. How do they do that?
Oh, they probably either do it out of helicopters, buildings, near buildings where they have windows, or
drones.
They do it. They just get a permit. Many times they get permits, and then they can go film. But if you try it on your own and they catch you, then they can really hassle you because you're not supposed to film here. You're violating whatever. It's like,
And I have a feeling a lot of the stock footage is from deceased estates. So people have taken and then or they've been hanging outside a building with it, and then so their estate's got this.
He was a fine photographer. He's 2 inches tall now, but
that's right. Well, here's that music again. It's time to go surfing. We did it. We did a half hour and 31-minute show. We did
31 minutes.
And we're finished and we're ready to go now.
Oh, that is such a Darth Vader voice. I love that one. What is that? The mixer?
Yes, that's right.
Which voice is that one?
24.
24.
24.
I got to check because I haven't opened the mixer yet. I'm going to open it this weekend and see which one it is. I'm going to set up at home. I think we're almost ready to set up for this home studio. So
we'll have to have a show with both you and Geoff doing the voices,
We could do that. Hello, Geoff. Hello.
Oh, Rick.
It's monster time.
Halloween is coming up.
Halloween is coming up. So anyway, well, that was fun. And there is some new gear to be had and new microphones and all sorts of stuff. So let's have a good time this weekend with gear.
And remember, if you're going to take a picture where you get flattened while you're taking it, at least make sure that people will be able to see the picture if it's really good.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, so stream the recording to your Dropbox. So when you're dead and smashed up, it's already recorded to the cloud.
That's right. That's right. Well, anyway, next week I think we have. Is it William next week?
William, I think it is next.
Who is next?
We have a guest next week. I know that.
I think it's William.
It is William next week.
Yeah.
Yep. Looking forward to seeing. It's been a while since we've seen William. It'll be fun to see him again. He's doing all sorts of good camera reviews.
Okay.
All right, Geoff. You have a great one. We'll talk tomorrow. And for all you people watching in the chat room, thank you. Or if you're even in the chat room, for all you people watching, enjoy the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you feel like, and so give us feedback if you like anything we're talking about, or if you want us to talk about anything in particular.
And let us know if this, we've changed our audio settings here quite a bit. I don't think we've really gotten any feedback on it yet. So if you like it, let us know.
We're not clipping anymore. We really redid all of our audio, and it's a lot cleaner. So have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye for now.